When they unbanned Faithless Looting, I was very excited, along with a lot of other people, even those that thought it was too strong. Modern is just fun again. Now, there's quite a bit of change with the unbans, and I mostly went straight to Faithless Looting because one of my favorite decks that played it from the past was Hollowvine, just Hollow One in general, and that deck's obviously come back with vengeance. That was going to be the first thing I did, but I wanted to do something a little different because another really popular deck featuring Faithless Looting is Arc-like Phoenix. Arc-like Phoenix, very popular card in both Modern and Pioneer. It comes back from the graveyard if you cast at least 3 instants and sorceries on your turn, on your combat step, and it has haste. So very easy, very good against removal. But most of those decks are all in, based in blue and red, so lots of 1 blue mana, draw card kind of things, fill your graveyard up. So if you can stop their graveyard, it makes their deck quite a bit worse. I wanted to play in an aggressive shell that kind of attacked from 2 angles. I'm either playing quick prowess creatures that your removal spells are good against, but you need to have them or they kill you. And I'm also dumping cards from my graveyard and bringing Arc-like Phoenix back, which your removal spells are not good against. But your graveyard hate is. But you kind of have to have both, because if you just let me have my prowess creatures, you die. Your graveyard hate is not good against them. And if you have removal against my Arc-like Phoenixes, they'll just keep coming back. So that's kind of the idea of the deck. The only thing that's interesting for me is the Dragon's Rage Channeler package with Mishra's Bauble. Mishra's Bauble is good because in Prowess decks, you want 0 mana to trigger your Prowess cards. Like Manamorphose, they draw you cards, 0 mana effectively, to make 2. Mishra's Bauble is the same thing, it's 0 mana. But this does not trigger Arc-like Phoenix. It's a little awkward because the draw is delayed. But Dragon's Rage Channeler is such a powerful card on its own that I wanted to play it, and it turned out pretty good. The only downside, I think, is it was also soft to graveyard hate, so it just made my opponent's graveyard hate that much better. So that's the thing I'm a little undecided on. Like, there were games where when there was graveyard hate involved, if I just had a Soulscar Mage, it would just be better. So that was kind of the thing I'm still undecided on. The deck, for the most part, is very cheap. I wouldn't say it needs the fetch lands, but they just kind of smooth things. They shuffle when I need to with Bobble. So it's like, if you have them, you should play them. The thing I think I made a mistake on, though, is only playing mountains. I was thinking to myself, I want nothing but untap sources. And I actually found myself plenty of times with a fetch and not needing to use the mana. So I should have played at least one Surveil land, if not more. I wasn't sure on which color to play. Like, should it be green in case I want to cast Mutagenic Growth, whatever. Most of the deck is pretty straightforward. You've got things like Lava Dart, 2 spells in one of it costing 0. Gut Shot, it can cost 0. Pretty straightforward things. I do have a 1 of Underworld Breach. My main, one of the main reasons I'm also playing mainboard Gut Shot is for Light at the Stage. I still think this is good, even with Arc-like Phoenix being a little awkward to exile it. 4 mana is quite a bit to pay for it, but that's okay. I am playing 1 Highway Robbery. I think it's 1 extra way to discard in addition to Faithless Looting, and Plot can be good to set up with both Arc-like Phoenix and Prowess. So most of that is pretty straightforward, but the deck performed very well. The thing I was least certain about was the sideboard. The one thing I don't want to change is the Mutagenic Growth and the Surgical Extraction, although I got to admit, I added the last second Tormod's Crypt, and I'm glad I did. Mostly because Surgical Extraction, even though it's an instant sorcery that costs 0 mana, triggers Prowess, gets Arc-like Phoenix, it's very good. You're almost always using it on their turn as your hate card instead of your turn to benefit Prowess. So I added Tormod's Crypt because I know you can just cast it, trigger Prowess attack, and let it kind of sit there. Kind of like Seal of Nuclear Graveyard. So I did a little bit of a split, and I think that's correct. The rest of it, though, for like moon effects and kill your artifact stuff, I didn't actually run into these in my tournament, so I'm not entirely sure how I feel about those yet, so that could be subject to change. But that's what I have so far. If you haven't at this point, make sure you start by hitting the subscribe button. So here in the first game of round 1, I did win the die roll, so I will be going first, which is great, but I did mulligan to 6. I think my opening hand was like Bauble, Morphos, some other non-creature spell, and 4 lands. Not very good. You basically need a creature for Prowess, because you're not really a burn deck. You can't just spike you, charm you, bolt you, and maybe also have a creature. Prowess decks need a creature. Now that burden is lifted just a teensy bit with Arc-like Phoenix, which is another benefit. It's like they just kind of work together really well. So I start with the Dragon's Rage Channeler. Didn't have the Bauble. Usually that's how it goes. And my opponent plays a Sacred Foundry. And I think at the moment I was playing here, I wasn't like exactly sure what he was on, and he just plays it tap. So I don't really know what he's on, but it turned out he was on Burn, which of course red-white is your typical Burn colors. And yes, we're both kind of like red deck wins style of deck, but the decks actually play quite a bit differently. Intrinsically, it's not obvious to me which matchup is stronger. because in one sense I need my creatures and he doesn't. But in the other sense, if he's aiming his burn spells at my creatures, that's not damage I'm not taking. Plus, I have the Phoenix angle. That's really the kicker, I think. So I play Lava Dart, I guess, just to put pressure on him and get rid of a land, which is great because I do not want more lands. So I hit him for 4 damage. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So 4 damage, including the little poke with the Lava Dart. My opponent has 2 mana. Usually that's when we will start seeing things like, yep, he's got a Boros Charm there. I don't know if he would win that race because the more untapped mana I have with Prowess creatures, the more the damage scales. So instead, he goes to play a new Duskmourn card. I forget this name. It's a 2/2 for red, red. And whenever an opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to them, which is pretty good. I don't draw like a lot of cards in the deck, but I draw enough with Faithless Looting that's a problem. So I decided to upkeep Lightning Bolts, trigger both my creatures, and I surveil before I draw. And another land, which was, I'm glad I did that. If I was going to do it anyway, might as well do it before I draw my card. And what do I draw? I draw a creature. Hey, I'll take that over the land. It's not great, but, gotta do what you gotta do. So I put the +1/+1 dice above the creature for prowess triggers because it's temporary. Whereas, when you put it on the creature, it's like a counter. Doesn't really matter. That's just how I do it. Looks like I'm deciding to activate and push as much damage as I can while he's tapped out. So that gives me a bunch of triggers, and it'll be a good hit here. I still do not have Delirium, so I don't love that. Oh, I do like that, though. Question is, do I do it again? I will be very low on lands. So I have a land in my hand, so I have 1 land, so maybe not yet, but 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. He's down to 9. Looking pretty good. I don't think they play much anymore, but Burn used to play Lightning Helix. That seems like it'd be pretty good right here. Seems like it would be pretty good. So my opponent has a grip full of spells. I'm not sure how many of these actually can interact with me, though. So I see Boros Charm. Boros Charm. And cast one of them. I can't really tell what the other card in his hand is. So it hits me for 4. He leaves open a mountain, which I think he's got something. He's got to have a removal spell, but I'm like, it's okay because I've got a bunch of creatures here. Not sure what I drew. Looks like some kind of spell, though. Ideally, the best spell here would just be a Chain of Metamorphose into like looting. Actually, looting with 1 card in your hand, it's not that great. Maybe light at the stage, don't have a way to get Spectacle. Oh, okay, another creature. I mean, more creatures needs more answers. I only have the Lava Dart to trigger, but that may be enough with a Slick Shot show off. I think here I'm deciding whether or not I want to use the Lava Dart and go down to 1 land. I decide I do. So I poke him down to 8. And if I'm lucky, I could flip over another Lava Dart. That'd be kind of cool. Looks like it's a Lightning Bolt. I mean, it's a good card. It's just like, eh. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's exactly 8. So my opponent needs a removal spell right here. Something. Lightning bolts, burst lightning, something. Looks like nothing. My opponent had nothing. I remembered I won the game, but I couldn't quite remember how. Let's go ahead and move on to game number 2. Okay, game 2, the camera turned on just a wee bit late, so you basically missed the first turn. So turn 1, he goes land go. No, he goes fetch, shock, lava spike me, or something like that. I go land, attack you for 1 with Swift Spear. Now he's going landfall into Searing Blaze, target my guy. And I did keep my 7-card hand, and I have a Mutagenic Growth. So here is why Mutagenic Growth is good. I pay 0 mana, he pays 2 mana. My creature survives because it gets +1 from prowess, has 2 toughness, and gets +2 more toughness. So that's 5 toughness to his 3 damage. So the downside, though, is I still take the 3 damage from Searing Blaze, plus I lose 2 life to pay Phyrexian mana into Mutagenic Growth. So I took a huge chunk of life, but keeping the creature is that important for prowess decks. Like you got to let them survive the best you can. And so I'm actually considering, if removal-based decks start increasing, like with Solitudes, I think they will be, I might go to Apostle's Blessing or something, which can also be ways of getting through blockers. I think that might be a card I'm interested in. Okay, so I'm hitting my land drops. I'm not down a card this time. I'm actually up a card, so to speak, because being on the play. So I have double Manamorphose, Slick Shot Show Off, Lava Dart, and Lightning Bolt. Very strong hand. Not exactly obvious the order I want to do things. Looks like I just decided to go for the highest value and save my spells for double Prowess Creature, poke him for 2 damage. I don't think Burn with 3 mana can deal 11 damage. Yeah, I don't think they can do that. Whereas like a Prowess deck could absolutely do that. Downside is you get the creatures at play. Now he has a Sanctifier in Vec, which could block that Monastery Spear all day, but he does not have double white. So that is a problem. Looks like he has another Lava Spike. He needs removal. That's his only real way to not just die here. So he decides to Lava Spike me. He is getting me low. I'm at 8. So if I don't kill him next turn and he hits a land, he could probably kill me. Maybe, actually, maybe not. I think he can only deal 7 damage with 3 lands. No Fire Blast in Modern as of yet. Probably won't be, although it would keep people honest. So I start with Manamorphose. That's usually a scary thing when you're playing against Prowess. But I see his mountain open. I'm still respecting removal, but I'm not going to like not go for it. So I have 2 floating red, I say. Second Manamorphose. Oof. That is a scary with a Slick Shot. Slick Shot is like 2 Prowess creatures, basically. Although it's not quite as... Ooh, a second Slick Shot. So I have 2 floating mana. I could play a Slick Shot. I could play... Burn Spell Light up the stage. The second Slick Shot is probably better against removal, though. But it's just a 1-2 right now. But Lava Dart is 2 more spells. Okay, so that's 3 plus 5. So I'm attacking him for 8, which is not lethal. No Arc-like Phoenix yet. Really, I'm just a Prowess deck right now. But man, the Prowess sure do put the beat down. My opponent is absolutely... under pressure. And he's usually me. I'm usually the guy playing the like Nietzsche deck, and I'm under pressure. Not Nietzsche like Friedrich Nietzsche, but the niche. But now I'm just kaboom. So Lava Dart puts him to 13. And now it's... That's supposed to be a 6 on the dice, by the way. So it'd be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Still not lethal, but if I flash back the dart, that's probably... So he's at 12, so it's 4, 5, 8. So 8, 9, 14 plus 5, so that's 19. So if he kills 7 of the 19, he still dies. Is that right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? No. That's 8. Sorry. It's 9. So if he had a removal spell, he actually could have survived. But I managed to take down the burn player with 2 Slick Shot show-offs. I'll see you for round 2. Okay, round 2, I win the die roll again, but I also mulligan again. I guess I just... the too many lands. But right here, I saw 3 lands in my 6-card hand. But at least I have a dude. And this will smooth my draws, which is one of the reasons I do like the Dragon's Race Channeler. It's like a quasi-Prowess creature. It doesn't get +1, but it lets you surveil. So it kind of blends things together. Especially with Arc-like Phoenix, it's very strong. I draw another land. Goodness gracious. Don't want to see that. See, and oh, getting extra lands makes your Faithless Looting stronger. So if you do Flood. I don't know what it is, but I somehow manage to always... draw way too many lands in my 17 land red base decks. It's just a mana screw is just not something I do. So here I plot a highway robbery, and I think that's correct because I wouldn't really get a lot of value out of it. I would have to have perfect draws, and I don't think I have a Phoenix in my hand, so I wouldn't get Phoenix. So actually, yeah, there's just no value. So plotting it lets me play it for 0 mana later and get maximum value, which is what I'm hoping to do. My opponent goes in-step fetch into Creeping Chill, so it's Dredge deck. So that's cool. Little Surveil lands can be pretty good in Dredge decks too. Creeping Chill on your opponent's turn, not super strong. I mean, it's a Lightning Helix for 0 mana, so that's nice. But you can only trigger Silver Smoke Ghoul from the life gain on your turn. So if you like manage to do instant speed dredging into all that, the silver smokes don't come back. But instead, my opponent decides to, is that upkeep? He's upkeep Otherworldly Gates, a second Creeping Chill. Okay, so now my opponent has gained quite a bit of life, which is something Dredge is good at. And that's normally bad for red decks. So normally you do not want your opponents gaining a bunch of life. But Prowess can deal a lot bigger chunks of damage, especially if you don't kill their creatures, than Burn can. Burn kind of consistently chunks you over several turns, but you're on their fast clock. Whereas Prowess like builds it up, pokes you for 1 or 2, and then smacks you for like 9 or something. So I play my second Dragon's Rage Chandler, and I don't love it, but I don't really have much else going on. So I decided to cast Highway Robbery and get rid of one of these lands. They aren't really doing me much. So this gives me I basically surveil 1 twice, draw 2 cards. Third Dragon's Rage Chandler is not what I want to see. Lava Dart is a fine draw, but it's just as good in the graveyard. So I think I really want to find Phoenix or Prowess creatures. There's a Prowess creature. And a Lightning Bolt. See, it's a reasonable play. So not too bad. I still have a land drop, right? This is turn 3. I think, yeah, this should be turn 3 because I went first. Okay, so there's my land drop. So I do believe if I do not flash back the dart, I have Delirium, right? So land, sorcery, creature, instance. There's a DRC in the graveyard. So the question is, I'm clearly trying to decide whether I want to use dart or bolt in my hand. Like, how much do I save these cards? Because he's almost like I need to assume he's going to go for a big dredge turn. He's going to put a lot of cards in his graveyard, bring creatures back. So do I need to save these to clear blockers? Lava Dart is good at killing Silver Smoke Ghoul and Narcomoeba, and then Bolt can take down Prized Amalgam. And it's not great using removal spells on dredge creatures that just keep coming back, but it's a matter of time. For every turn I attack him, he has less time. Now he increases his time with his Creeping Chills. But if I get to untap with some prowess creatures and spells, I can hit him really hard if I aim some of the spells, get the blockers out of the way. So that's kind of the idea I'm going for. Really, I just have to care about his Narcomoebas being a flyer. Because if I find a Slick Shot, that flies, and Dragon's Rage Chandler flies, and I don't have to worry about anything. So he's going to do an upkeep of the Worldly Gates flashback. Interesting choice. Seems like he might be looking for another red source or a black source. Oh, I think he had Dark Blast in his hand. Interesting, which would have been good if he had black source. He could kill the Dragon's Rage Chandler. Oof. There's the black source. Yeah, he does have a Dark Blast in his hand. Not sure how much of a difference it would have made in the game, but it would have slowed me down a little bit. So he untaps and Faithless Looting. Okay. And he has a dredger. Okay, so he can do some stuff here. Let's see how good his dredges are. So it really comes down to that. So first draw, Stinkweed. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, there's a Narcomoeba. Not too bad. Not great, but not terrible. Okay, so he didn't hit another dredger, so he draws for draw number 2. And then he needs to discard 2. Looks like he has land, Dark Blast, Thug, Stinkweed, and a few other cards. Okay, so Dark Blast does not kill anything anymore, but he's going to get Narcomoeba plus Prized Amalgam. So not terrible. Okay, so untap, upkeep. Okay, so I decided to bolt his face, and I guess I'm doing this to set my draws up. So, ooh, Arclight Phoenix, not bad. And that looks like a Mishra's Bauble, which is not super great. It does trigger stuff, but I wouldn't get the card till the next turn. So, it's okay. It's looking like I'm probably not going to get this Arclight Phoenix back. Okay, Slick Shot, not bad. I can cast my Lava Dart, which is fine. It keeps Delirium because of an artifact now and the Bolt. So yeah, I can just like take his blocker out. Let's see how much damage that is. So that is 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, Oh, so now I can get Arclight Phoenix. Oh, wow. So this is why Dragon's Rage Channel is good. Look what I just milled. Another Dart. That's my third instance of sorcery, and another Phoenix. So that is way overkill. Let's see how much damage this is. Light of the stage. I should mill that. Yeah. Second spell. Land. Okay, so I hit him. I get 2 Phoenix back, so that is he's at 11. That's 6, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 21 damage. So if he was still at 20, he would still die. That was a good game for Dragon's Rage Chandler. Let's go ahead and go to game 2. So game 2 tends to be all about cyber cards / hate cards. If you are a deck that is subject to hate cards, and he saw all that graveyard stuff. So he's like, Leyline of the Void, right? That's good against Phoenix, right? What if I just played Prowess creatures and beat you down? And who do you think is softer to Graveyard Hate? Because against Graveyard Hate, Dredge literally does nothing. The thing is, this is going to be some proof that DRC, Dragon's Rage Channeler, is a little bit of a liability sometimes. So I start with Faithless Looting, which isn't great, but maybe my hand isn't great. So I think I kept the hand because I just exile some spells. Yeah, I kept the hand because I have 2 Tormod's Crypts, and as long as I can stop his graveyard, he just won't do anything, and he'll see it and play around it. So that's good enough for me. But it's not the best prowess hand. Like there's no creatures, and I'm not gonna be able to set up phoenixes, so it's not the best. But 2 Tormod's Crypts against a dredge deck is hard to pass up. And here's a tip if you're playing against dredge. For the most part, don't just use your graveyard hate when they have some stuff in their graveyard. Like if they have dredgers and they're doing the big dredge thing. It's like if you could take out a dredging card, I think it's not worth it because everything that they would hit that's a payoff will hit the stack first, and then you can nuke it. So wait until I have payoffs worth getting rid of. Because if they brick, or they could brick is what I'm saying. So like last game, he didn't really hit much for a couple of turns. So if I were to have waited and saw a stinkweed and like, oh, I'll take your stinkweed out when you Faithless Looting, now he can just use the Faithless Looting draws to set up his next thing. Whereas I just like let him go until he hits the payoff cards. The only real risk in this is if it's the main phase and you dredge into Ox of Agonis and no other triggers go on the stack, then they have priority to cast the Ox first. So that's the only situation. But if it's on their draw step, their upkeep, or anything like that, and they hit Ox, you still have an opportunity before they can cast it. So he plays tap Steam Vents. I guess there's nothing else really good in his hand. Ooh, he has Creeping Chill in his hand. That is not what you want to see as a dredge player. So I plot Highway Robbery and pass. Just another Highway Robbery. So Silver Smote Ghoul is a payoff card. Into the Floodmaw is basically Modern's what's that blue card they used in Legacy? Chain of Vapor. So we basically have Chain of Vapor now, which allows us to not need to play white anymore. I still do like Leyline of Sanctity, and I kind of like, for Dredge, I do kind of like Stony Silence. I feel like it covers all your bases there. But having to do that is a lot of mana, colored mana. I didn't see what I discarded there, but I cast High Robbery. There are some creatures. Arc-like Phoenix, not my first thing I want to see. So I cast my DRC, which will stay a 1/1 for the rest of this game, because I did not choose to include any way to kill an enchantment. So that enchantment is staying there. My plan, I guess, is to just use the back of the strategy of the deck to, hey, you have Graveyard Hate, but I still have another thing I can do. So I'm hitting my land drops, but I'm not really putting him on a clock. So I poke him for 1. He's got plenty of time. He needs a Dredger and Threshold to activate his Selfwood Coliseum there in the upper right. Oof, that is not good. Top deck's another Creeping Chill. That is not what you want to see. Okay, so right there. I don't know if you caught that. He passed, and I just went to my turn with a Bloodstained Mire. That could have been a Surveil Land, set my draw up a little better. So that already happening is proof enough to me that it's worth 1 or 2 copies of a Surveil Land. You should just play them. They are really good. I did not play them when I could have earlier in, like when Modern Horizons 3 came out. I was wrong. Play Surveil Lands if you have fetches in your deck. Okay, so now he has a Dredger. So on his turn, he'll have Threshold. Okay, here's something I'm doing for no reason. I made a mistake here by gut-shotting him on my upkeep. That's a habit for being a Phoenix player. So you do that so I'm doing it before I draw a step so I can surveil and try to find a better draw. But that habit is only good with Phoenix. But the problem is he clearly has a Leyline of the Void, so I'm clearly doing it by muscle memory. And the funny / sad thing is I did it again.
Whoops, whoopsie.
So you're going to see me do it again with another spell. If I want to set my draw, just do it on the end step and use the mana. Oh, look, there was another turn with a fetch. Same fetch. Just notice how these turns are going and I'm not using the mana. That's when you can really use a Surveil Land. So my opponent is setting up Dredge. He does hit Narcomoeba. So that could be enough of a reason to use the Crypt. But I guess I'm just not scared of Narcomoeba with my Gut Shot Lava Dart deck. And there's just nothing else. He didn't hit Creeping Chill there. If he hit Creeping Chill, I probably would have used Crypt. But he's got that Cephalid Coliseum. He could use it. But interestingly, again, he has no dredgers left. His game just isn't, the sequence of his games just aren't flowing very well, which, that's part of what you sign up for when you play a dredge deck. So he goes to clean up discard, put the stinkweed back in the graveyard, going very analog. Okay, so I am on, see, I do it again right here. Embarrassing. Embarrassing. But I'm so far ahead here, it feels. So, okay, I am surveilling and I find what was that? Metamorphose. Yeah. It's an interesting draw here. I guess at first I was not happy with drawing it. But I guess I am okay with it because, like, yeah, I want to find a creature. But Metamorphose is 0 mana, look 2 deeper, and draw to find the creature. So, and I have one in my hand, so I can dig 4 deep or 5 deep if I need to. And once I hit just a prowess creature, I think that should be good enough. Man, that Phoenix in my hand would be real nice if there was no ley line. Okay, so I go Surveil 1. I did not catch it. I think it was a Phoenix. Did not catch that, but I keep it on top. That is a sign. It looks like it is a Slick Shot Show Off. That's exactly what I needed. So now I am out of mana, but I do have this Tormod's Crypt number 2, which triggers prowess. So he's pointing at it. I think he wants to do something while it is on the stack. So the Slick Shot resolved and is on the battlefield. I then cast Tormod's Crypt, triggering his prowess, and those 2 are on the stack, and he's going to activate Cephalid. Sure, I suppose. And I'm looking at what he's got. I'm like, what you got over there? He's got kind of nothing. Even though he has Silver Smoke in his graveyard, he cannot return it on my turn, which it is currently my turn. But notice I let him, I say, yeah, go do the dredging things. A lot of focus there. Let's see. A bunch of lands and ley lines and nothing. And no dredge card. Oof, that is Brick City. That is not good. So he's got to take 2 more natural draws. Oh, there's the... He's still kind of hit nothing. So even if those would have his graveyard, I guess he would have kept dredging, but the next card was another dredger, so he was 1 card short. But he hit another Silver Smoke, which again doesn't really do anything. He's got Creeping Chills in his hand. Man, my opponent is not very lucky today. Whereas like that last round, I went double Dragon's Rage into flip into Dart. Exactly, I need Dart's second Phoenix. That was insane. So I surveil and keep it. So both surveils I just keep. I can poke him for a little bit of damage here. Was it 5 damage? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So it's a clock. If I untap though, if he doesn't do something, I mean, what can he do? I have 2 Tormod Crypts. Yeah, this is the position I want to be in. I think this is why the keep was right, because I would have enough time to eventually. I mean, I was a little lucky that I didn't have to use him sooner, but double Tormod Crypt is going to be really hard. I didn't have to use the same one, but here's the other thing: I have a Surgical Extraction in my hand. Everything's just bad for him. So here we are in the upkeep. He mills an Ox. So I have an opportunity here to activate the, yeah. So I don't give him any chance to get the Ox. I can't remember if this was his upkeep or my end step. So if it was the upkeep, he was tapped out anyway, I guess. But if I'm not careful and let him go through his next draw step and he's not dead, then I'm dead. So if he gets a big Ox turn off, I'm in trouble. Yeah, that was his upkeep. So I guess it didn't really matter. Nat discard. All right. I don't see how you survive through a Slick Shot untap, but second Slick Shot. Okay, so I'm casting Metamorphose first because otherwise I wouldn't have enough mana. I keep that on top. A land. I think that was wrong. And so I think what I was thinking is, well, if I have 4 mana, I can go Slick Shot into Morphos. But I didn't get it until after the Morphos. So it's like, I think I should have gotten rid of the land. Because I don't need 2 mana. I have 2 floating mana. I spend it on Slick Shot. Okay, so that was a mistake. I'm still pretty new at the deck. Little things like that matter though. So like I could have milled it 2 cards deeper to find another like a lava dart or something. So I cast Surgical Extraction. I think it ends up not mattering. So he reveals he does have Stinkweeds in his hand, but I'm doing the math here, and the reason I cast it on my main phase is I'm pretty sure I just had him dead on board. So I told him, I'm like, well, I'm not going to really bother going through your deck because this is more than 10 damage. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or it's exactly 10 damage. All right. So the plan worked. He had Graveyard Hate, and Slickshot just beat him down. So let's go ahead and go to the next round. Okay, in round 3, my opponent is playing Blue Red Wizards Splinter Twin, which I think is a really cool deck. I keep 7 for the first time, and I have turn 1 Swift Spear Poke you for 1, about as good as you can want for the most part. My opponent is just going to kill it, which is right. That is the right way to play against this deck. You see a thing, it dies. Do not let them untap with Prowess creatures. Okay, so my hand is Light of the Stage, Arc Like Phoenix, I think lands, Slick Shot Show Off, and a Gut Shot. So here I plotted the Show Off, but I think that was a mistake. And the reason I think that was a mistake, in hindsight, I learned a lesson. So I could have had 1 more damage, but then he's open to Sorcery Speed removal. That's like the traditional logic. The thing is here, Modern has enough powerful cards. And so Sorcery Speed removal shouldn't be what I'm worried about. What I should be worried about is a diversity of answers. So an example of diversity would be the creature's on the battlefield, I kill it. If he's going to kill it, he's going to kill it anyway. If the creature's on the stack, you can counter it, but you cannot counter it when the creature's on the battlefield. So that limits what your interaction can be. So if he's on the battlefield now, I would have hit him for a damage. He couldn't counter it, but he could kill it. He was going to kill it anyway. However, when I untapped my turn, yeah, I get more mana into my Flick Shot, but that'd be true anyway if it was just on the battlefield. So if I got to cast it now, he could counterspell it, which he wouldn't have been able to do, and he does. He super trades with me. He'll make that trade every day. So now I'm sitting here, I got nothing going on. So I decided to gut shot him for poke him for 1, so I can activate this light stage and you find some gas. So let's see what we find. Another gut shot and a Dragon's Rage Channel. Yeah, not bad. It's a thing. I need to get that Phoenix out of my hand. I could really use a looting here. So that would be spell number 2. I could play 3 spells, but Phoenix is in my hand, so that it does not help me. This would also be another great spot for a Surveil land. Because my hand is land Phoenix, just terrible hand. And I'm on a sort of clock, and it's a Splinter Twin deck, right? So eventually they're going to go in-step, Exarch, untap, you're dead. So I got to be careful. I decided to poke him again for some reason, and I'm not sure why. Why do I do that? So yeah, I use that gut shot, and I should not have. That was a strange decision by me. So I'm making a lot of mistakes this game. And this is what I like. I like to play, get experience, and learn, because I make mistakes every game I play. Maybe they're not always this egregious, because those are some pretty bad mistakes. But yeah, there's always like some little decision I find that I criticize myself on. So he has another removal spell. Galvanic Discharge is very good. And now I have no threats. So I'm in danger. I don't know. I guess any draw here is good. No land is bad, because I have 4 mana for Phoenix anyway. I was going to say if I drew a land, I could play the Arc Like Phoenix, but I have a 4th land in my hand. So I'm in-step fetching for... See, like, imagine that was a Surveil land. So much better. So Tameo is the current card of the format. Spiked up in price. It's like a 1-mana Planeswalker that can just go crazy. For a 1-mana Planeswalker, it is quite powerful. So I was going to play my Swift Spear there, but I guess I decided it's just better use some mana to play the Arc Like Phoenix. Yep. It's got nothing else going on. You either have it or you don't. But if I play Arc Like Phoenix and it dies, I mean, I could get it back with a good sequence of draws. But yeah, definitely lots of mistakes this game. And maybe it wouldn't have mattered because he had the right... I don't know. I mean, that Slick Shot might still be alive. Or no, he would have Galvanic the Slick Shot, and so my DRC might still be alive. But still, these are all very good things. So I really want to focus on, I guess, card draw. Like, I don't know. At this point, it's probably just a foregone conclusion. Yeah, I draw another land in my 17 land deck. All right, I'm doing my best to bring the pressure. Snapcaster, that is pretty good. So here, he is going to kill the Phoenix, which is normally not good for your removal. But in this case, Snap can trade with Swift Spear. So in that case, I think it was a good decision. Now I just have nothing. I have a mountain in my hand, nothing in my graveyard. I keep the mountain in my hand because of Faithless Looting. So the opponent gets another clue token and passes. And I draw nothing, I guess. What did I draw? Another land. Very funny. Yeah, I don't think I have any outs here. Okay, so that's the Otter, who's also a wizard. And the card's really good because it can find a Splinter Twin, which he does. So now I know the clock's ticking. It's not like he's dealing damage to me, right? I still have a lot of life. He's at 8, so there's some sequence of draws I could, in theory, get. What do I draw there? Faithfully. Hey, that's actually a really good draw. Turn those cards into real spells. Okay, there's some hope. I could get the Phoenix back this turn because I can flash back the looting. So I have red floating. And then I flash the looting back. So at least I'm going to put some pressure on battlefield. So this is something like if it's a normal Prowess deck would just be straight out of gas here. Double bolt, it's fine. What's interesting here is I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, I could play land and have bolt open. But bolt's not going to kill Deceiver Exarch, and I know that. So I discarded land bolt instead of land, which is probably wrong. Again, another mistake, but that ultimately doesn't matter because this game is probably a foregone conclusion at this point. Yeah, there's Exarch. So I know he has Splinter Twin. He taps the attacker, and now it's just like, yeah, I'm just dead. So let's time to scoop. Nope. I show him what I had. I had to explain. Yeah, we're just like bantering. So yeah, very dead. All right, so let's go to game 2. That was he destroyed me. Okay, so I get to be on the play because I lost. I do the same thing. Poke you for 1. My opponent, we both kept 7. I don't think any of us mulliganed. So he shocks in a Steam Vents to kill my guy. Pretty reasonable. Gets to save an energy. That's quite a good magic card. So now I think I learned my lesson and I just throw in a Slick Shot there. Nice. Slick Shot pokes you for 1. But my opponent mostly just like wants to kill every creature on site. That is his plan. Tapped. Oh, that's a Surveil land. Okay, so he doesn't need more lands. I am on the just try to kill you as fast as I can. There's a Tamiyo. So, ooh, I get it. I get to untap with a Slick Shot. I have an opportunity here. It looks like I also have a second Slick Shot in my hand, which I wish was on the battlefield with this Morphos. The downside is Tamiyo has flying, which sucks. That's what makes Slick Shot so strong. So I have 2 red mana floating. I decided to just cast a second Slick Shot. So now he's got 2 things to deal with. Pretty scaries. Let's see. What is the best thing? I could play Lava Dart. If I have one, that'd be decent. Oh, Faithless Looting. Okay. So I've played 1 instant or sorcery. So I need to find a Lava Dart here. Or some Fire Extinct mana. I do not find it. So I have Phoenix, Breach, Bolts, and so if I keep Bobble, I can get another trigger. But I guess I'm thinking that maybe I want the removal. So it's definitely discarding the Phoenix. So I could be giving up an extra trigger and cantrip here. So I'm not sure that that's right, but I decide I want to keep the Breach. I want to like play into the fact that he may have removal, and then Breach is good against removal. So this is an attack for 6, 7, 8, which is half of his life. And I'm surprised he didn't block. He's really relying on this Tamiyo. And I'm guessing because it's a wizard and maybe he wants to do like Flame of the Nor shenanigans. It's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, I don't know. So if we'd have blocked, he would have taken 5 less damage and he'd be at 12. That's still a Slick Shot. Or both Slick Shot. Yeah, maybe it just doesn't matter. I guess what he's thinking is it's just a matter of turns. And if he doesn't have Tamiyo, he has nothing going on. It's probably something like that. But Underworld Breach being my last card is very strong. Wondering best case scenario for my opponent is probably to have the Splinter Twin combo because he can stomp an attacker. Oh no, okay, he attacks. Wow. Okay, because okay. He's gonna flip his Tameo, so he wasn't gonna block anyway. So the attack was like strange. I'm like, well, don't you want the insurance of a blocker? Now Tameo can reduce 1 power, which is not nothing. When you're at 7, every point counts. But tapping with Slick Shot Show Off with no blocker and probably no way to kill it is pretty sure suicide. All right, so I cast the Breach. I'm going for it. So that triggers Prowess. Nice. Play land. Interesting decision. Oh no, that's a good thing because I have Metamorphose in my graveyard. That is a very good. Because Metamorphose is just going to net me cards. It's for every card that I have in play, Metamorphose just... Okay, so I cast it. I get rid of 3 cards. That is instant number 1. I draw Mutagenic. Ooh, very good draw. So one more is... Nope, still not lethal because of Tameo. I draw Faithless Looting. I have 2 mana. So Faithless Looting, that's lethal, right? I don't think he has an out or bolt. Either of those should be good. So it's at 8. So it's at 9 power, effectively 8 when it attacks. I find land a light at the stage. It's like whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm wondering what it's waiting out. It's like bluffing, maybe. Yeah, I think it's bluffing. So yeah, he's pretty extra dead. But I keep going through the motions because he has not scooped up his cards. Oh, he's like, you attack me or Tamio? I'm like, you. All right, let's go to the last game. All right, here in the last game, opponent's on the play. Here's an interesting setup. So I have the turn 1 guy, and he's going to kill it and use his mana. But now I get the extra benefit of Mutagenic. This is what I was talking about. So now, instead of killing my creature, he spends 1 mana, I spend 0. We trade cards, but he takes 5 damage instead of 1. So that's excellent. Now, the good thing for him is since this isn't Lightning Bolt, it's Galvanic Discharge, he can just not spend any of the energy because it wouldn't kill the creature anyway with 5 toughness. Sorry, he took 4 damage, not 5. That is about as good as that could have been. I have Phoenix and Looting in my hand. Oof. What do I want to say? I want to say this.
Oh, yeah. It's all coming together.
I just need... If I can hit Phoenix this turn. Okay, land. That is not what I want to see. Another Faithless Looting. Oh, I have Lava Dart. Okay. There is a Phoenix coming back. Deal with it. Okay, I'm feeling good about this game. But if I don't get a nice big hit here, my opponent can go land and Exarch an attacker, and then I'm dead. Because I don't really have a way to kill. Or I'd have to like save Bolt plus a Lava Dart. So that is instant number 2. So I am bending the dart because I think I want to get Phoenix back, which is not bad. But I could cast the Mutagenic in my hand, but I guess I'm saving it for a removal spell. The thing is, I don't think that would actually protect against anything because Flame of North is already 5 damage. And if he has a second Galvanic, he could do up to 6. So I should probably just push the damage. I don't think that. That's like, is that a mistake? Because like if he has Bolt, it would stop Bolt. So it stops 1 removal spell. And it's not lethal. It would be 3 more damage. I guess it's fine. And if he somehow kills Phoenix, it's another spell in my hand to maybe get it back, I guess. I don't know. So he shocks in. I don't want to see that. Oh, he plays Tameo. I'm okay with that. So that's it. For sure next turn he is not going to Splinter Twin me. And I draw Lightning Bolts, which is probably just unlosable for me at this point. 3 spells. So this is where I want to be. A few lands, more spells. So I play a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Maybe I could flip it Phoenix or some counterspell. Okay. Well, that means my Bolt's going to resolve, right? Unless he has Force Negation. He could have Force Negation, yeah. But I think I do go for it. So he's only at 6. So if I can get my... Let me think. I I get my dragons or my monastery up to 3. Kill his blocker. Should be good unless he has, like I said, force negation. Maybe flare of denial. Nah, he has to kill his guy anyway. Okay. So I decided to just bolt his blocker. It probably was fine either way. It's like if I bolt the blocker or bolt you, you block, I pump the other one. Yeah, that should be. He was like, oh, he was a big fan. He was a big fan of mutagenic growth. And that's it. The deck was very consistent, very fast, very aggressive. If you made it by this point, if you like what you saw, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all the generic things because it's very helpful. And I'll see you next time.